I have more to ask.
Is there a specific correlation in between the stages of sadhana and the communication of the Dharma? It's my impression that the Dharma was one thing and sadhana was another.
Well, obviously they can't be two independent things. They are a single process. But I don't understand what your question means exactly.
Perhaps I don't understand in any fundamental way what the Dharma is in that case.
The Dharma is the totality of this satsang. And one aspect of it is a verbal teaching. And there are different kinds of communication that are considered in different stages of sadhana. But the Dharma is not different than the Guru, not different than the divine. And it is realized by individuals as a process in which piece by piece they become responsible for degrees of the totality of their existence. In satsang, the Dharma, which is truth itself, is communicated always perfectly, absolutely without limitation. Not this much of it, and tomorrow this much, and this much the next day, but always all of it. The truth is fully communicated in satsang. It is the perfect condition of satsang. But you see it as a process. You realize it in time. You see its evidence, its revelation in stages. And I must speak to you relative to the evidence with which you are involved. But my work with you is always the same in its fundamental sense, its most perfect sense. I don't start with you at the bottom and push you up. I don't assume your limitation. That's not the nature of this satsang. In this satsang, your perfection is assumed. Your real condition is assumed. The divine nature of this is assumed, lived, known. You are included in it by the force of this siddhi. And you are polarized to it. The very movement of the process of your own life is turned around and repolarized relative to its native functions. But you don't see it in truth, in its perfect form in this moment. You see the evidence of the beginning of movements, the showing of signs, new things to be responsible for, new things in the midst of which to understand. But this satsang is the same for devotees as it is for students. So the Dharma is not other than the Guru, it's not other than truth. It is this whole process entirely. But the service to those who do this sadhana does come in pieces, in stages, that speak to the dimension of it, the level of it that is absorbing people in the moment. So the verbal teaching that we also call the Dharma does have parts and stages and all the rest. Huh? But the Dharma itself is truth. It is this satsang. And apart from these times when we discuss it all, we just come and sit together. There's no speech. There's no special little thing I do sitting with students, and a really big thing I do sitting with devotees. It is the same. But it is realized by students in a special way and spoken to in those terms, and realized by disciples in another special way, and that is spoken to. And theater relative to that level of assumption in each of those cases is generated. Lessons that are particular, specific to that level of sadhana are given. And the same with devotees. Devotees are not a perfect lot. Devotees are really those who've begun to do sadhana, truly. It's not an end of the game sort of thing. It's the beginning of the perfect process of existence as siddhi. And it is eternal. So there is also sadhana in the devotee stage. And there are lessons. There is theater. There's growth, there is increase of responsibility even among devotees. So there's no status particular to devotees that makes them all equal. They're all equal in terms of the principle and process in which they are involved. But the growth is infinite. So there are all kinds of devotees. And so it is as a group, fundamentally, that devotees serve as the extension of the Guru's functions. The community of devotees take on conventional aspects of the Guru's function. Either late in his life or more commonly after his death. And by taking responsibility for that specific level of service given to them, this whole affair may go on after my lifetime, exactly as it will go on during my lifetime, the only difference being that this personality and so forth of Bubba Free John won't be the obvious agent, but the process will be the same, served through other kinds of agencies. Do we answer the question yet?